Hello, ladies and gents, and welcome to episode number 4 of our JDBC full CRUD application. For the previous video, we implemented the create functionality for the entities customer and car. And in this video, we are going to implement as well the create functionality for the remaining entity, which is the rentals entity. It's basically very similar to the previous video. However, at this time we are going to do something different, a little bit different, and that is the implementation of the referencing of the customer as well as the cars within the rentals record. As you can see in our ER diagram, we know that the rentals table is a joint table between the customers and the car, and therefore the rental table has two foreign keys, one pointing to the customers and one pointing to the car. In the context of our application, the rentals object will have a property called customer, which is not a customer ID, not an integer, but a reference, which actually a reference to the customer object. And also the same with the car, we are not storing integer for car ID in our rental class, but instead we are having a car object, which is a reference to an actual car object. So there's the difference in there. And also in terms of the UI, will not be using the text field for our customer ID and our car ID. We will instead be using a combo box so that we can have a list of all the active or existing customers for our customer ID and a list of our existing cars for our car ID, displaying the actual text representation of those objects. So let's get to it. Of course, we already have our rentals form. And just like in the previous video, we're going to go to the source and have a reference to one object. And this time we're going to have a rental object. We should make this private. And it starts off as a null value. And then we go to our new button. And inside the code behind our new button, we are simply going to do the same thing. Current is equal to null, and clear the fields. Okay, and of course we create that method, private void clear fields. And what we need to do here is, since the first two, this one, we're going to change this into combo box first. We go to palette, and then let's remove this one and have a combo box instead, right below the customer. We call this customer just CB. Then also for cars, and we call the car CB. And of course you see this by default have some contents inside of it. We're going to change that. We go to properties, and under model we remove all the items inside. Same thing here. Next thing we need to do with this two is that these two combo boxes by default uses strings as the items inside. And since we don't want strings, we actually want here customer class or object, and here what we want is car objects. So we can do that as well in properties and code, and we go here type parameter instead of having string, we'll have here car, and this guy, instead of string, we'll have customer. Save. So in going back to our source in our clear fields, why are we having, okay, so we get this error because we are not importing the car and the customer. Just a simple import would solve the problem like that. Okay, going back to clear fields, since the first two are not text fields, we clear it by making it such a way that the first item is a null value, and then when we clear the field, we just select the first item, which is a null value. And so here we're going to say customer CB that set selected index be 0. We just have to make sure that when we populate the customer combo box, that we put a null value in the first item. We'll also do the same thing with car CB. It sets selected index to 0, and of course the others, since they are just text fields, you can just make it null. So the other one, what's the name of that? This is date taken txt, date return txt, and it's not named, should be amount txt. All right, so let's continue on. That's date taken txt that set text to null. Just copy this one. This is date returned, and this is amount. All right. Now, unlike the previous video, we don't have to make customer CB grab the focus because we don't use the keyboard when we type or when we put data on it. We just use the mouse and click. So there's no real reason why customer CB should be grabbing the focus. All right. So that's it for the new button, and let's go on with the save button. Once again, the same, almost the same. To say if current is not null, here we do an insertion, else here we'll have to do update car, or not update car, update rental. All right, so here in our insertion, we are again going to have an object rental, and we instantiate a rental object whose data are the following. The customer is going to be the customer that we get from our combo box. So we have here customer CB dot get selected item, and then car CB get selected item still. Oops. Then here we what's going on? Next is of course the date taken. Dot get text date returned, and since the deposit is a float, you're gonna have to say float dot parse float the deposit txt dot What did we name that? Oh, amount deposited, and it's just amount. Oh no. Anyway, let's just use amount dot get text. Okay. Oh, by the way, we have to. What's wrong with this? It says incompatible types. Mm-hmm. Just have a simple parse. This one. What's wrong with you? Oh, sorry. It should be date, right? Let's just try date the value of. Same thing here. Of course, we have to import the date class from the SQL package java.sql.date right there. And this one will have date.value of. And let me check first the format that we used here. I forgot how it was done. Let's see. This one. We should be using dash instead of slash, because that's how that's how SQL sees the string to be. Let's do the same thing for date returned. All right. So after creating the rental object, we call upon the rental DAO and the add method and pass in our object. Of course, you have to put this inside of a try catch. And let's have a message. Don't need an icon for this. And let's just copy this one. Instead of having an error message, there should be an information message. And the message here is new rental record added. So here is where we call on the rental DAO that add and pass in our rental object. All right. So let's test this out. First, of course, we need to start our database. Okay, and run this program. If you go to rentals, oh, I forgot to do the population of the list of customers and the list of cars for now. Let's do that first. Of course, you cannot use it without the list of customers and cars. And that should be done. Let's just do that in a separate method here. Populate cars. Let's start with that. And of course, we are going to retrieve some data from the database in this case. For now, we don't have that functionality in our DAO, so we have to add that. This is a sneak peek at the retrieve functionality that we are going to do in the future video. But since we have to do this in order for our create rentals to function, that's why here we go. We open up our DB package, and under the car DAO, we have to add another static function or method, and this time it's going to return a list of cars. We say get all. So we are going to import the list from the util, not from the AWT. And so now we're gonna get a result set, and we get the result set by executing a query from our DB class, getting a connection, creating a statement, or let's just separate the statement so that we can close it. Let's start with a statement here. All right. Of course, we import our statement from the SQL, which unfortunately cannot be found. Let's import Java SQL dot result set, also statement. Okay, so the result set is gonna be the result of the st dot executing a query. And our query is simply going to be select asterisk from cars. Just order it by make and then by model. All right, this will give us a result set, and we are now simply going to traverse into the result set and take each and every record into a car object and add it into a list. So of course we have to create that list first. We're gonna create an array list of cars. Like so. And here we're gonna loop while the result set has a next value to it. We are going to create a new car, and the data we're going to populate inside of this car is taken from the result set. So we have first the ID, get int ID, then get string the make, then get string the model, and then the plate, and the int is going to be the year. Is that it? Still like something here. There's supposedly 4 strings. What's the other one? Make, model. Yeah, the color. So this should be rs that get string color here. And then for every car created, we are going to add it into the cars array list. So add C. And at the end of the loop, we're simply going to return cars. So that's how we code our DAO method for getting all the cars into a list of cars, which our uh, UI can use to retrieve the list of cars and put it into the combo box. All right. So here, instead of just using populate cars, let's just populate combo boxes so that we'll do it everything here, the both car and customer. So we'll do car first, and we have a list of cars called cars. It's taken from the car DAO dot get all. Right, and of course this is going to require us to put it inside of a try catch clause. And let's just copy this guy. So we get the list of cars, and then we just add it into our combo box. It was car cb dot set model, and we create a new default combo box model, and inside of it we pass in cars, just like that. But before we add cars into the combo box model as the content of the combo box, let's first add a null item in the first item in the cars. We need this for our clear fields. So cars that add, and we can put here the index of where we are going to add it, and what we are going to add is a null, just like that. And let's fix this import problem here. Oh, sorry. The default combo box model's constructor requires an array, so our cars is a list, and that's okay. We can simply call cars dot to array. And just like that, if we run our program, hopefully when we click on rentals, we have the list of cars. Oh, we don't have it. Oh, sorry. I know why. Because we did not call the populate combo boxes yet in our constructor. Right? Let's do this again. Rentals. And we do have our list of cars right here. And we need to fix that problem with our toString. We should have a space in between the model and the plate. Let's do that now. Going back to our models, under car, into the bottom, the toString right here. This guy should put a space there. I think that's also what we need to do with the customer. Oh no, we didn't have any bracket on the customer's toString. Now let's do the same thing for the customers. So we'll have a list of customers called customers, which is taken from the customer DAO dot get all, which of course we don't have yet. We don't have the get all yet. So let's do that under our DB customer DAO, and we simply add a new public static list of customer get all, and this one also throws an exception. And from here we define, of course, so we import our util list, and here we define a statement. Let's not forget to import as well the statement and the result set, which now that I remembered, we purposely created the statement here so that before the end of this we can close it down. So going back to the customer DAO, we do the same thing. Statement st is equal to db.con.create statement. And here we'll have a result set rs, which is st.execute query. Select asterisk from customers, order by lname, and then by fname. Now we create a list or an array list of customers called customers. And import that while rs.next, we're gonna create a customer where we get our data from the result set. So we have rs.getInt. First is the ID. Next is the lname, fname, phone. So rs.getString lname, fname. What's next? The phone. Address. Next is the license number. Just like that. And then we call upon the customer DAO. Oh, sorry. No. We call upon the customers dot add, and we add C. At the end of the while, we are going to close the statement. We're going to close the result set and return the customers right there. Okay. And yeah, it's gone. Now we can do customers that add on index 0, we add a null value. And then customer CB that set model, new default combo box model, we pass in customers dot to array. And that's it. So now if you run this, you can see now that hopefully we have a list of customers and the list of cars. Yeah, and if we create one, so this means William James Jacobs took a Ford Mustang on 2020 November 20 and returned on 2020 November 25, and the amount deposited was $300. Let's check if we can save. Nothing happened here, so I wonder, oh, did we have a problem? Let's see. I think there's no problem. Oh, I know what's wrong here. This should not be not equal to null, but should be equal to null, because we are going to insert if it is null. Alright, let's try out again. Run. Rentals. William Jacobs took a Ford Mustang. And click on save. New rental record added. Let's check our database. Select asterisk from rental, and yeah, we have a record. All right. So that will be all for this episode. I hope you have learned something from this. And in our next episode, we are going to make our application a little bit more robust by implementing some validation on our form inputs. Because we cannot trust our users, we have to make sure that the data that is entered into our forms are valid before it is submitted to our DAOs. So that's what we're going to do next. And see you again that time. If you like these videos, please subscribe to my channel and click on the notification bell button. And once again, thank you so much and see you in the next episode.